over, and Rebecca, thank you.
No problem. Hang on one sec. All right, you're good to go. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Rebecca. Okay, so we have Flip On, we have Walter, we have Martha, we have Sam, and Will is on. You have to unmute a few people.
I am.
Flip, you're okay?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. It's like Sam's got to unmute. I like the North Sales logo there, Sam.
There you go. Yep.
Sam, you're on now?
I can hear you. You can hear me?
Yes.
All right. I'm good to go.
Ed, are you on?
Yeah,
I am.
Okay. We have a Gene on and an iPhone on. They are muted.
I got mine on the iPhone. I can't get a picture of me. It's Will Barrio.
Oh, okay, Will. And I don't know who Gene is. They are choosing to remain muted. So we have, you know, for a quorum.
No Coakley, no Stamatis yet.
No, Stamatis will not be here.
Oh,
I don't know about Coakley. So good evening, everyone. This is a meeting of the Marina Advisory Committee. It is Wednesday evening at 7. This meeting is being conducted via Zoom. And we will open the meeting at 7:04. Let me just see if we have anyone else on here. Okay, I think I have unmuted everyone. The Gene person chooses to remain muted. And Will, are you on?
I am on.
And Will Barrio?
I am on.
Okay, good. All right, and Will Sullivan is on. Okay, the first order of business is announcements, open session, public comments. I want to welcome 2 new members that have been appointed to the committee. Will Barrio and Ed Kane, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, guys.
yeah, welcome.
you're welcome.
I was one on alternate.
Yes, Ed is the alternate. So the alternates are Ed and Sam, and they will vote if we don't have a quorum. Any other announcements of any kind?
Yeah, just a little announcement that the rowing rendezvous is on schedule for the 25th, which is a week and a half from today at Mayo Beach. So if anybody wants to come row boats, eat oysters, hang out on the beach on hopefully a good day, I'll be there and a bunch of boats will be there. So everybody's invited.
What time does it start, Walter?
Starts about 11. Low tide's about 9. So a couple hours after low, tide will be coming in. Hopefully it'll be a nice little southwest breeze blowing the boats up on the beach and be a nice day, hopefully.
Well, it always has been in the past.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky, pretty lucky.
Okay. Are there, Kevin, are you on?
I am.
Okay. Are there any other announcements? Okay. I'm just trying to unmute add here. And this is the days when we can meet in person. Okay, the first order of business is the minutes from August 17th, the last meeting. If you want to take a minute to review those, please.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of August 17th.
Are there any amendments first? Are there any amendments offered?
Okay,
Okay, Sam, you're making the motion.
correct.
Okay,
I'll second it.
and Martha is seconding it. Okay, roll call, Walter,
Aye.
Flip. Flip.
He went
Um,
off video, so he might be having issues here.
Oh,
Oh,
he's got
thumbs
a
up,
thumbs up.
thumbs up.
Flip, do you approve the minutes? Okay,
Thank you.
we'll move on. Kevin,
Aye.
okay. So we have Joe, I, Walter, Flip, Martha, Kevin, and Sam. Okay. The minutes pass. The next item is the harbor master report. Will?
Our main focus right now is getting ready for dredging. We're getting all the docks out and pulling them, trying to get all the boats out, and just prepare the harbor for a good dredge. We did pass with the select board last night the contract for dredging to Burnham Associates. KP Law weighed in on that, the town council as well, and approved us going forward with that from their point of view. So everything should be on track. Also, last week we received a grant from the Seaport Economic Council. We went up to Mass Maritime to get for $40,000 for next year's engineering costs for dredging, or 90% of it. So we have that going on as well.
Congratulations on getting the grant, Will.
Yeah, that's great.
I agree. Now, are most of the boats out? I mean, from what I can see, there's a lot of stuff out, but there's still a few holdouts down there.
Yeah, the majority of the boats are out, and you know, the rest are all pushed down. Just waiting logistics to pull them. And you know, we got today, we settled up. We probably have about half the docks out already. We got all the way down to the beginning of A section, all the outboard, all the fingers, all the bow ties, pretty much out. They're all out front and in the parking lot. There's a couple of fingers left that we didn't get to today. We'll get to tomorrow. But and then we'll start pulling A section tomorrow as well. So most of the electricity's wrapped up. Water lines are gone. A couple of the gangways we shot up and took off, and you know, we'll just keep moving forward.
I don't know how to keep the.
Now, the DPW is helping out moving floats I saw there today, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're there whenever we need them. They're running back and forth with that loader.
Now, that old crane, what's the prognosis on that old crane we have there?
Well, I used it yesterday to pull out a couple gangways.
Okay.
Not safe at all. Not the best idea to continue with that piece of machinery. But you know, this was a get the job done time, and we don't want to fall behind because of anything. So
Going further out, is it going to be cheaper in the long run if we contract out the use of that crane in order, instead of buying a new one or repairing that one?
we can rent one by the week. We could easily rent it to have one in there for those kind of gangways and stuff. From Childs over in Dennis or United Rentals, I do have all the licenses to rent something like that. Actually, I think I'm the only one that works for the town of Wellfleet that does have those licenses. But so I can easily rent any type of machinery that we need. But rentals are costly too. But with the cost of maintaining it, it might be a better thought, or buying a nice used piece of machinery.
I think the advantage of renting is you don't have to store the thing down there with the salt air eating it up.
Exactly. You just have to make sure that you have everything in a row and you're ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of renting instead.
What's any idea cost on a rental for like a weekly, or do we have it? Is there somebody around here that actually has the equipment we can rent?
Usually Childs and United Rentals usually drop most things off. I'll look it up as we're talking right now. But they do rent all kinds of heavy equipment. If we got a telehandler with a rotator and extending boom, or United Rentals does a crane. Possibly even Winkler rents out cranes or something too. So
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, well, when is the dredging actually scheduled to begin? The drop date dead?
October 1st.
Okay.
October 1st, but they did call and they said they'd like to bring in their equipment a little bit early.
Okay.
So,
Bring it.
get it here.
Okay.
They
any-
did that last time. They brought gear in beforehand.
Yeah.
And is this dredging to be completed by the end of the year, like it was last year, the 31st?
That is the plan. That is the plan.
Any marina concerns that anybody wants to bring up?
No, I just had another question about the dredging. Will they be taking out those pilings in the back there, or are those supposed to stay?
They'll be taking out the broken ones, the ones we picked a certain height. So the ones that are majorly bad, they'll be taking out.
Okay. What
Yeah.
about the ones at the outboard slips? Are those coming out, or are those staying?
The outboard slips, no, those are staying.
Okay.
Those are staying until
They'll
we-
actually
sorry.
dredge around.
Yep. Oh yeah. They normally dredge around pilings. Yeah.
I know they did it around freestanding pilings. That's interesting. Last time I remember they drove them in after, but then again, maybe we were getting new pilings so that might have been why.
Yeah, I mean, most harbors will go through a dredging every, so often, and they just dig around the pilings because they wouldn't replace them every time they dredged. If we were on a more routine maintenance plan, we wouldn't be pulling and redoing the pilings every time. Just for instance, if we rented, pound for pound, an excavator that would have to be delivered, 65,000 pound, which is a big boy. That's 3,000 a week from Childs. 40,000 pounders, 2,000 a week. So that's probably what we're looking at towards the equipment cost for rentals to get one of them down here. Case forklift, 21-foot mast, 1,100 a week. Telehandler, Skytrack, 1,575. 60-foot JLG man lift is 1,575. So we're looking at like $2,000 a week for an equipment rental, times a couple times a year. So that's way cheaper than buying it probably in the long run, especially with the ability to maintain things.
How many weeks does it take to get everything out that you need to get out?
Well, we mostly use that for gangways and larger things. Seeing that we can work with the DPW and they got two massive front loaders and don't mind giving us the equipment, but and the manpower also helps too. So especially right now, the manpower is pretty key, having them
More
in
the
there.
merrier.
Yeah. And I mean, as far as I don't know. I mean, right now it's kind of easy to take things out. We're not, everything is starting and it's not freezing cold. So this is a little different to take it all out in 2 weeks, but I know that's the shortest it's ever been done. So by a long shot. So, but I think, a solid week on a piece of machinery could, the gangways are kind of a special thing. They don't work too well with the front loader, and the way that boom's set up. So.
Will, in the last month or so, have you experienced any parking issues down there?
The last month is in particular when we've experienced a lot of parking.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Can you highlight exactly what they were? I mean, granted, people can't find places to park, right?
Yeah. Well, we've seen a significant influx of people in Wellfleet. The typical Monday afternoon is not a free time anymore. The parking lot's pretty busy. Where we all had the luxury of most of the weekdays until you get up to the weekend, we're pretty dead. But it's been super busy, and that could be a COVID trend. I mean, we'll have to see when what this year kind of brings for the winter. Are people gonna leave and stay all the time, or what they're gonna do? But we're really trying to look into this parking problem. I mean, we have the problem. We need to do something. We need to either meter it and something like that to get that going. But yeah, it's been very the weekends have been especially hard for people, especially when they all come at noon. Noon to 3 o'clock to come down there is or 11 to 3 is
Well, so 3 to 5 when Pearl's got the bands, every afternoon.
yeah. Seems like if you ask anyone when not to use the long tramp, it's a weekend after 11 o'clock. That's when everyone wants to go to the beach. That's the same as the ocean beaches, though. That's when they have the lines too. So that's when everyone goes to the beach. And even on Sunday when I take the kids to the beach, I don't think we've ever gotten to the beach before that time, packing up everybody and getting going. So I never understood it, but at the same time, it's like, hey, you find yourself doing the same thing.
Just on a slightly different note, will you be having some time this winter to build some new floats? Those end floats are getting really bad.
Yeah, we should be having plenty of time. We actually laid out, if what you saw today was that we laid out all the finger floats too, so we could start taking care of them and pressure washing and cleaning them up. They're all stacked out nicely in the parking lot and prepared for that. So with this all happening, this early in the season, we got quite a bit of time to actually work outdoors, where normally we wouldn't even be able to do that. So this is kind of an opportunity, and we should really kind of seize that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to replace some of the concrete ones that are down there?
Yeah, we'll keep on going.
Ones.
Yep. Yeah, we'll keep on going, fixing things and replacing, building new ones at the same time.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's a back order of 4 to 5 months for galvanized hardware for building docks. So maybe the stuff can be ordered pretty soon. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to get back to the parking. I mean, that's going to be a major issue that we should deal with before the summer. And I brought it up at the last meeting. And Joe, you had said that, the recommendation of the parking committee, that's going to be a huge problem next summer. For me personally, I don't take an afternoon charter because until I get a morning charter, because I'm not parking down where at the end of the pier. And with everything that's going on with the select board now, with businesses renting town property, it's going to open a can of worms, because do I have to rent a parking spot from the town? I mean, these are major issues, and everybody just sort of glasses over them and we'll deal with it next year. And it's getting to a point that, for me personally, and I know Dave, he's not on tonight, but Dave has the same issue. Parking is awful. The people over on the other side in the slips where the Pearl parks, those people have a right to park their car there. They're paying good money for slips, and they're not getting that privilege of that area. So at some point in time, we have to step up as a committee and force the select board to make a decision. I mean, if they're gonna license Mac with the picnic tables, they should be able to license me for 2 parking spots.
When you brought it up last time, Kevin, I made reference to the document, the final report.
Right, I looked at it, Joe. I understand.
Well, as I'm trying to say, for everybody, there is a very strong recommendation in there, which I presented to the committee a year and a half ago, that the select board get working on it again. To my knowledge, that has not been on the select board's agenda. Okay, that's number one. Number two, there were strong recommendations in there about parking. So they have the document, a lot of time and work went into it. But, you know, I agree with Kevin. I think it's going to be a huge issue. It is perceived by many people as the town's municipal parking lot. And ultimately, I think the select board is going to have to make some decisions.
Well, when you look at this, this is like one of the last free parking lots on the entire Cape. You know, you go anywhere else and you've got to pay for the parking. And I think a lot of more and more people know that, and they're coming here from all over the place. I think that, you know, we can talk about this, you know, and talk about it. Maybe we need to do some kind of a motion, you know, to go to the Board of Selectmen, that they need to review this and act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Martha.
Yeah.
Like you said, Joe, there was it was before my time on the committee, but there's been a analysis or report already done and there's no action. So we should try and escalate this with the selectmen. I mean, why can't Max on the pier and the Pearl, you know, essentially get allocated and pay for a certain amount of parking spaces, and then, you know, the folks with slips get allocated 1 or 2 spaces depending on, you know, whatever the parameters are, boat size or whatever, you know, kind of an allocation of this parking spaces.
Yeah.
And what about those who have warnings?
Sorry, I have what?
Warnings.
Well, same thing. They should have access to parking as well. They have to come and use the launch and get out to their boat. So,
Sam, can I play devil's advocate here? You go to Provincetown and you pay for parking. And I understand we're not Provincetown, but any business has to pay. Mac,
no, I'm with you, Kevin. I'm with you. I'm saying
Mac
that.
shouldn't pay for so many parking spaces. Those people should pay for themselves because they're
Okay,
choosing to go to Max.
Yeah, that's fine. So they're allocated to Max or Pearl, certain number of spaces, and then each you know, person, each car coming in for that pays for that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they have the pier parking at Provincetown, right, Kevin? You know, where you,
Right.
you know, it's $2 an hour, $3 an hour, whatever it is now. And, you know,
So
Me-
Kevin, would you, wait, hold on. Can I say something real quick on that whole basis? Because so are you like allocating like an area that you park if you have a business, like be it the Pearl, be it Max, maybe
No,
it's
I don't think there should be.
Captain
allocated-
Coakley's
I think that-
fishing charters. Maybe it's, you know,
If I could
yeah, the whole Pickard's, you know, organization. I mean, how do we, I mean, I think that they would probably be happy to have some kind of a parking area where their vendors came and paid, I think.
If I could just interject here, I hear what you're saying about pain, but I think the issue before that has to be discussed is this, as I presented to the parking task force. We have 500 plus voters. We have 301 parking spaces. Whether you gate it and have people pay or not, I think the first issue that has to be addressed is prioritizing those spaces. Who is going to get what? How many spaces are going to be allocated for voters? How many spaces are going to be allocated for businesses? I think it starts there before. Paying is fine, getting income, but it starts there first as to prioritizing those spots. And in that context, recognizing that this could easily turn into a bloodbath, one of the final strong recommendations of the parking task force was looking at off-site parking with a shuttle bus system. So you can pay all you want, but there are only so many spots to accommodate people. And already I've heard from the group, we're talking about businesses, we're talking about voters, talking about charter people. How about charter customers that are paying a good fee to come down and take a charter and they can't park, in order to go out? This is multifaceted, And my recommendation is before we send anything to the select board, we should put it on the agenda to talk about all of these factors and to see where, as a committee, we're going to come out on them.
I think this whole thing is watch out what you wish for, because you're going to get it and then you don't know what to do with it. I mean, this town's has been, advertising for more tourists since I've lived here for 50 years. Now we got all these tourists, we got all these people. What do you do with them? The selectmen unfortunately have been, sitting on their hands on this for a number of years. The marina should be for the marina, and any leftovers, you pay. Anybody that wants to pay can pay. And then they really have to deal with the beach. They got to have, like you said, they got to have satellite parking, and they got to have a shuttle bus. That works.
I think
Many places.
5 years ago, this committee voted
Yes.
send a motion to the select board to allocate a minimum of 80 spaces on the slip side for voters.
On the perimeter, right?
And it went nowhere.
Yep.
But
Well,
I can.
we have a whole new board of selectmen now, and, half of them probably don't know about that, motion that went there at that time. So I think we need to do another motion now and put it in pretty strong language, that we need to move forward with this. And I think that, either Joe or, we need to talk to each one of the individual selectmen about the motion that we're sending forth, because this problem is not going to go away. It's going to get worse.
How can we word a motion when we as a committee haven't decided what we think it should
Well, I think that we can word a motion to the effect that, the parking has become a real issue on the pier, and that the first priority is the people that use the pier commercially, and also the people that pay to have their boats there. And then after that should come the rest of the people, and how the Board of Selectmen decides to do that, and whether we do that through paying and giving permits to each of the people that have, like, mooring spaces and dock spaces. And I think that we should, strongly suggest that we do have a shuttle service for at least 10 weeks for everybody else. I got another, aside from this, a quick question. Hey, Will, what's that Cape Destinations bus been doing down there for the last 3 days?
I don't know. We weren't sure about that. We've been ticketing that pretty good though, but it seems kind of odd because it doesn't seem it has the DOT license numbers on it and the Cape Destination sign, but it's not clean like one of their buses normally is.
Well, they've got a whole fleet of stuff now.
Yeah, but normally they're clean though. This looks like it was parked in a backyard under a tree for a while, you know?
Yeah, but it's been sitting there all night, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's why we're ticketing it. Yeah. Overnight parking. That's our, that's the one we got.
Joe, maybe what we do is, to Martha's point, is we put an agenda item on for October to discuss this and kind of formalize a motion. It doesn't mean, we're not going to solution it. I think we're going to present the problem and say, let the selectmen, I mean, you know, there's going to have to be some assessments done, some studies or whatever. But the key for us is that the marina folks, the folks that are renting moorings and slips, have parking.
Sam, I agree.
It's just not for
But
them, it's for the commercial. I mean, it's for the commercial shellfish access to the launch ramp. It's for the charter boat access.
Yeah, exactly. All those interests, right? Exactly.
okay, Sam, regarding your comment, there's been a study done that's an inch thick, and they have it. It was completed a year and a half ago.
Can we
Please,
resubmit it with?
Maybe we should just
please.
remind them heavily.
Yeah,
Let's
fine.
do
That's
one
fine.
at a time, one at a time. What I'm suggesting is, before the next meeting, and I like that idea, take a look at the parking task force study as it pertains to the marina, and take a look at the recommendations. I think we have an ally there, okay, that we can refer to. You know, we've studied it to death. To follow up on Sam's idea, I think at the next meeting, we should look at that and come prepared to make a motion with some specifics in it to put the ball in their lap for action. Walter, you have something?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good idea. We should check out the recommendations because things have already been done more than once. And we've done it more than once. You know, Flip knows, Joe knows, we've done this a number of times, and Joe was on the committee that was formed to, you know, suggest all these things to the selectmen, and nothing's happened. So what we got to do is keep jabbing them, basically, because they're the only ones that can do anything. We can't do anything, but we can keep reminding them and you know, become a pain in the ass, basically, and advocate for the marina. I agree. Everybody should look at this task force thing, do a little bit of research, and come back and say, you know, come up with a good motion, and you know, every month maybe submit the same thing, you know.
I can tell you, having served on the task force, it was an eye opener for a lot of people. I was the only voter on it, okay? And people were shocked at how many moorings and slips they are. They were surprised at what we're paying for them, okay? There's a one-page write-up on the marina in the recommendations that I wrote. Take a look at it. It's a warning. It's a red flag warning. And I gave testimony on the record before the select board at the end of the task force, before it was dissolved, presenting that to them and encouraging them that they had to move on it, and nothing was done. But take a look at it. We may have an ally there.
Yeah, could you, Joe, could you circulate that again, or give us a link to where it is?
Go online, the town's website. I believe you'll find it there. I'll do that tonight. And if there's a problem, I'm going to send it out to everybody.
Thank you.
I would also share with you what I witnessed on that task force. They took testimony from a lot of people who showed up on the record. There were a number of business people who showed up with a lot of entitlement and made it very clear to the task force and those who were attending that that's a municipal lot and they want parking there for their customers. That's what I mean when I say we're heading for a bloodbath.
Well, I think that, well,
Do our homework.
I agree that we ought to review over this and get, you know, make a motion at the October meeting. I mean, probably the simplest thing, the solution, in my own mind, would be to have paid parking down there and have all the people that commercially use it and have like, and rent the spaces down there, either moorings or docks, have passes to be able to use the lot, and
Yeah.
everybody else pay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pretty simple solution. It just has to be.
I
acted
agree with
upon.
that.
Yeah.
Plenty of
exactly.
solutions.
There
think that's
also
a-
has to be, the state requires 60, I believe it's 60 spaces for trailer parking.
All those on the south side.
Yep,
When we got the money, when we got the 470,000 to build a new launching pad 7 years ago, one of the stipulations was for those 60 spaces. And they're taken care of.
Yeah, those aren't counted in that 301, right?
They are.
Oh, they are.
well, they are counted.
They certainly are.
I think Martha's
So-
idea is fantastic and that we kind of ought to just start moving forward with it and bring it to the select board as even a public hearing. And just say we're going ahead with this and then let them stop us. I mean, we just got to go ahead and do things.
Well, you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's for sure.
exactly. And, we're looking into that right now with just going ahead with it, bringing it right to them, offering it up. I'm just saying
And
this is
in
what we
the
want to do.
interest of saving time before the next meeting, I think each of us should also think about how many spaces do you want to allocate for boaters? Out of the 301, there's already 60 for the trailers. Okay, so I think we should come to the meeting with some ideas that we can present to them, substantial numbers for boaters.
Yep.
My concern is if they don't allocate enough for boaters, we're going to lose boaters and the enterprise fund is going to suffer.
Well, one of the things that I would just say, though,
That's in writing in my write-up and the recommendation, and I warned them in my testimony before that board. So we'll
Well-
put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Where does the,
one of the simple solutions, though, I think, is just like I mentioned, just making this cut and dry, allocating space. I mean, putting a permit, if you have a slip or you have a mooring, you get a sticker for your car and you get in. Everybody else has to pay. And the other recommendation that would go along with that would then be for 10 weeks in the summer that we have a shuttle service, and if the parking lot was filled, and if people had to pay enough, they'd probably use the shuttle service to go somewhere else.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm totally agree.
where does
Because I mean,
the,
there's no way.
Been
around
agreeing
it.
for years.
Yeah, it's just been, the shuttle service is gonna inevitably have to happen in this town with the amount of people. They
they
just gotta
were
figure out
against
where
it
to
on
do
the
it.
parking task force, weren't they, Joe?
Say that again.
They were against the charters, the shuttle service
Who's
on
that?
the parking task force. Didn't it come back that the shuttle wouldn't work
No,
along
Quite
the
the opposite.
beaches?
we strongly endorsed a shuttle service.
But the selectmen didn't feel it was necessary for that time period.
Didn't even act on it. We even gave them an idea where an off-site parking space could be and the route the shuttle would take. All the details are in there.
Mhm.
We'll put it on the agenda.
Yeah, look, Joe, look at what they're doing up at Beachcomber every weekend. They're bringing three or four big buses in from wherever they load up, Yarmouth, Dennis,
Pier.
and they're packing it
Yeah.
all in there for the benefit of the folks that own, the Beachcomber. And that's a traffic nightmare up there. If you've ever been on Ocean View on Saturday morning, there's hundreds of people walking around. And then when they pick them up at 4:30, they're all drunk. It's just a nightmare. And they allow that. So this makes a lot more sense, what you guys are talking about.
Sam, I'll give you just very briefly, and we can get into it at the next meeting. The task force studied that, okay? The conclusion drawn, talking to the beach administrator, the assistant beach administrator, the people at the Comer is 99% of those people unloading on those buses are there to go to Cahoon Hollow Beach. They're bringing huge coolers. They're bringing alcohol, they're bringing food, and then like ants, they trek up that hill in the afternoon. Very few of them go to the coma. That's what we found. And
I respectfully disagree with that, but whatever, fine, we can, yeah. If you ever try and go there in the afternoon on weekends, forget it.
But Sam,
After-
the counterpoint on that is they bought a beach for $50,000. They bought a town beach for 50 grand. And people in this town are so ignorant, they don't realize that. All they see is the 60 grand or
Yeah.
50 grand.
Yes, yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I'm not, I'm just suggesting that I was looking at more from a transportation and parking perspective, Kevin, and it's like, let's just table it. I agree, Joe.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We'll wait till next meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
we'll put it on the agenda and we'll allocate 3 hours for it. How's that?
No, the sad thing is everybody's in agreement. It's just putting together a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we get from Will or Joe, can you provide the statistics on how many boat slips and moorings there are? Just, we should have that in there, just so we have an idea of how many out of the 301 is reasonable to allocate. I don't have that information, so,
Yeah, I don't either. Will would have it.
okay. Because I think being reasonable, we have to figure that there's a certain percentage of those spaces are going to have to be, quote, public for those two businesses there at least, right? For the Pearl.
It's more than just two businesses. I mean, if you go down to
yeah.
Mac Shack, they're also transporting people back down to the beach.
Okay, whatever, yeah, whatever, but I'll call it for the restaurant business there, and then there's
Wedding
so-
venue, there's
yeah.
wedding venues, there's so much.
Aldi's.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I'm gonna pull my notes from the parking task force. There was a tremendous amount of work done on it, and a lot of people came in to voice their opinions, okay? And I'll pull those notes for the next time because they address what a few of you just referred to. Okay? Anything else on that? The suggestion about how many moorings and how many slips. I don't know. Do you want to pursue that?
Well, Joe, if I remember correctly, we were trying to make it as simple as possible. And I think we took all the outer perimeter spots and allocated those to start with. I don't remember what that number was because there was some discussion about, we had discussion about there was too many handicaps and we had to maybe do.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to send you all those numbers in each area before the next meeting. Because I mapped the whole thing out. I walked it.
we had,
Sounds good, Joe.
yeah,
I had my wife count them. And we came up with the same number. One of the.
Got out the experts, huh?
Okay, I'm
All right, thanks, Joe.
gonna send, let me make a note here. Parking numbers.
I'm gonna have a copy of that.
And
Well,
like,
here's a question for you, Will. Where does your domain end? Where does it begin and where does it end? Does it begin over by the beach sticker shack? Will still here?
I don't, there's no real definition of what we have as a domain in any kind of, real controlling assets. I'm a department head with a building, but again, what are we fighting for? Just like the beach sticker shack, what is our control on a building? Are we the owner? Are we a renter? Or are we all just part of the town? So it's really kind of confusing. I mean, right now we have the beach sticker shack that leaks, needs a new roof. Who's going to put that on? Is it a town building or is it a marina building?
it's a marina building. And the marina has historically contracted it out to vendors, and the beach administration pays us a fee to use that.
Yes, the beach administration and the shellfish department pay us $15,000 a year, which is enough to cover the utilities. Now, if I were a business owner, I would not be renting out a building for the price to cover the utilities, because we wouldn't be running a good business. Now, are they not town buildings? And who's responsible for maintaining town buildings? The town pays people to do that.
Yeah, and I think that's the gray area. While the marina has controlled it in the past, I think the gray area is maintaining it. Would that come out of the enterprise fund, or would it come out of the town fund?
Yeah, and that's, I think, the whole gray area with the entire area. I mean, also, you know, what's considered what? I mean, there's their real definition, because we are only a town department. And are we controlling town lands, or are we controlling town entities? That's, I don't know if there is a true definition of that.
If we had a town manager, you could ask somebody.
Wishful thinking, Walter.
And Will, when we looked at that, the 15,000 a year, I remember we looked at it and they weren't even, that's just an interdepartment transfer essentially from wherever the general fund to the enterprise fund. I don't even think we were getting that every year, right? Remember we looked at that?
We have neither confirmed nor denied that.
Yeah. And I certainly can't get the information out of the town. So not only is the 15,000 inadequate, but we're not even getting it. So it's, yeah, we need to reevaluate that.
You know, or it's a town building and the town maintains it and the town runs it. I mean, if you put in a shellfish department there, whatever, and the town does it, then they have their department and their office, and like, you know, like the COA, you know, they need something, or the you know, town hall, they need something, they call the DPW, and the DPW does the work, because it's, you know, it's a town building.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have you heard anything about scheduling the fuel tank installation, Will?
scheduling, no, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Marina Concerns, anything else? I think we covered it in that category.
Joe, can we put the topic that we just discussed, can we put that the building, the shellfish / beach building on the agenda for one of the upcoming meetings? I think we should straighten that out, because it's kind of it's just not a fair arrangement right now at all. And it's not clear, as Will pointed out, you know, who has to do what. So when it needs a new roof, is it going to come out of our enterprise fund? I don't, you know, think that makes any sense. So we need to address that and put it forward to the powers that be, selectmen or whatever.
Okay. If not on the next meeting.
Yeah, one of the upcoming meetings we can talk about it. I'll try and work with Will, and we can pull some numbers together so we have some data to look at. I'm not going to promise anything, because it's basically radio silence from the town on numbers right now. I can't get anything out of them, so I'll try my best.
Yeah.
One of the other things also should be brought up is Commercial Street extends all the way out to the wooden pier. For most people, they don't know that. They think the whole thing's just a huge parking lot. So there should be there used to be a yellow line that went down there. And there should be a defined yellow line, making it some type of a road type situation instead of just one big cluster.
Kevin, that's been used so differently over the last 25 years that it'd be really hard to redefine that.
But is it a road? It's a road, right?
Well, I don't know. I think it got redefined when they redid the pier.
But
Years
those
ago.
business, the Shellfish Shack has a street address on it.
Right, they have addresses.
Max has a street address on it, so it would have to be on the street, correct?
I guess, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, it's good.
I mean, in terms of defining as a road, I mean, do you really want people blasting in and out of it like they do? That's kind of, it's,
Well,
you know,
do you also want people just, it, like Walter stated, your town census went up 30% in the last 10 years. So be careful what you wish for. Everybody wished for all these people to come here, and Wellfleet isn't the same Wellfleet when you came here as it is now, or I came here as it is now. So it would seem to me we have to have defined lines so there is some type of order to keep people in line.
Oh, yeah, you have to have access to the L pier. I mean, that's a commercial pier that has, you know, there's.
oh, I
people
see what you're
unloading,
saying. I
loading,
got,
you know,
I understand where you're coming from now. You're talking about it, max parking lot. I got you. And it's cutting off the access. I get you.
I'm not talking about his parking lot. I'm talking about you have customers all the
Cutting
way
off
up
the
to the
access.
gas. Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're saying now. I got you. I'm with you. I missed that. I got you.
So, I mean, and I don't blame, truly, I don't blame the people that come here because there's no defined line. They think it's one big ass parking lot.
Yeah, I got what you're saying. I
yeah,
missed-
it's
I
the
missed- I
access
missed
that,
it.
access has to be preserved there for sure.
Correct. Yes.
Just a footnote thought on that you can think about as you formulate your thoughts on parking for the next meeting. The parking task force looked at Cape towns and marinas. We're the only one in this situation. Other towns most of them have designated parking for the marina and have a municipal lot. Some of them, like Chatham, have gone to a shuttle.
What does Saquatucket Harbor have? Because they've got Brack's Landing there, but Brack's Landing's got its own parking lot, I guess.
It's a pay.
It's a pay.
Yeah,
I
even
was
to sue it.
today eating at Brack's. There was no pay requirement at the marina that I could see unless there was somebody walking around. But that's the problem. Wellfleet's perception has been marina or municipal, and depending on who you talk to, you get strong opinions both ways. Okay.
I have the assessor's map right here if you want to see it, what we're talking about.
Sure.
Let me do a screen share real quick. Screen share is disabled, Joe. If you can enable that, I can. show it.
Let's see. What do you want me to enable?
Screen share.
Okay. Got it.
All right. Yeah, it still says it's disabled.
I clicked it on and I've got it on my screen here.
All right.
Is host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah.
Something's screwed up.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe you can prepare it for the next meeting, Will.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on, we have a guest on EBERR. I need to record that as a guest. Would you identify yourself, please? The person is not muted. Okay, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is dredging. There were 4 bids submitted to the town. One bidder did not qualify. So that left 3, and the bids ranged from a high of $7.9 million down to $4.8 million. The low bidder at 4.8 million was Burnham Associates. They have a website, if you want to look at it. They did our dredging in 2001 here. In recent years, they've dredged Plymouth, Situate, Duxbury, and New Bedford harbors. They are also going to be subcontracting with AGM Equipment, which has a lot of equipment. So that should not be a concern. And their bid awarded was $4,826,500. The dredging task force continues to work hard on the issue of getting the permit for Area 2, and it's a real challenge. We don't have it yet. We're working with our congressional delegation that has been very supportive, with our lobbyists, engineers, and so forth, every resource we can find. So that's an ongoing matter. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, new business and future concerns. Well, we certainly have one new business item with the parking. Anybody have anything else? We have the Shellfish Building, which may or may not be on the next meeting. I want to leave plenty of time for parking. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. Looking at the calendar, if we want to get back into going toward the end of the month, I'm looking at October 13th, or if anybody has any other thought.
Joe, I think your screen came up.
Yeah.
What happened here? There we go.
Okay. Is everybody on board, or is anybody muted? I think everybody's on board.
Yeah, 13th looks good.
That sounds fine to me.
That looks fine to me.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think I can do the 13th.
Okay, we'll put down 10/13.
Hopefully can do the 13th.
Is that all right with you, Flip?
I hope
Oh,
so.
You're going to be under the operation.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little pre-op. I should post-op. I should be okay. That's
Yeah.
all.
You're
That's
not
fine.
going to the island?
Just skip
I
a
don't know
little
how long I'll be able
Percocet, that's all.
Yeah, I don't know how long I'll be able to sit, but
I'm going to send out information on the parking that I compiled for the parking task force. If everybody would review the document the parking task force presented to the select board. Will's going to provide the assessor's map and any information on the Marina building. Anything else we need? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn at 8 o'clock?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Martha? Second?
I'll second.
What, you second?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Roll call. Walter?
Aye.
Flip?
Aye.
Martha?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Cam?
Yes.
Ed?
It's gone.
And Bill? Bill on? I think he's gone. Okay, thank you, everybody. See
All
you.
right.
All right. See you guys next month. Have a
Y'all
good.
later.
Nice night.
Take it easy.
All right.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay.